Wambui Richardson, Artistic Director of the Jubilee Theatre, now celebrating its 40th season. That's right, our 40th season. In celebration of our current production, HooDoo Love by Katori Hall, join us for P.S. I Love You conversations as we meet with and talk with couples young and old as we all explore this phenomenal question of how do we love in the 21st century?
Happy Valentine's Day from Jubilee Theatre and our next installment of P.S. I Love You. Today, I have the Whitakers with me, Montrose and Tiffany. Welcome, welcome.
Hey.
It takes some dedication to do this on the morning of a Valentine's Day, if you know what I mean. Let's go ahead and get started. And let's first talk about, how did you two meet?
At birth.
Yeah, at birth.
Literally.
Well, okay, so our moms were BFFs in middle school and high school. And so we kind of grew up together, you know, almost kind of like family, but not blood family. Mm-hmm. And we were in each other's lives all throughout our childhood, middle school, high school, never liked each other in that way, ever.
She shadowed me.
No, never liked each other in that way. You know, he's 2 years older than me. So he finished high school a couple of years ahead of me. And when I finished, I left and went to school away, far, far away. And after that, lived in other places, did my own thing. And we just lost contact for about 8 or 9 years. I think it was about 9 years. And we rekindled back after that. And that's, like the story changed. It's like, boy, you done grew up.
Like I said, she was following me.
I wasn't following him, but yeah, that's how it happened.
Okay.
So today, on this National Day of Celebrating Love, how do you define love in your marriage?
Hard work.
So I'm going to piggyback off of something he told me. I'm going to define love in our marriage. Honestly, it's definitely God first. You know, it's not, you know, you just, as you mature and you get older and you go through things, you realize that, you know, in marriage, that you definitely need a higher source or a higher power, you know, to guide you and to lead you and to give you grace and all those things. So like love in our marriage is definitely because of something much higher than us. I mean, granted, we love each other, and I'm sure we're going to get more into it, but
it's like I said, it's patience. It's patience.
Mm-hmm.
It's generosity, being considerate. It's selfless. I mean, you have to be. You know, you have to be willing to understand each other. You have to be willing to compromise. It's a lot of giving of yourself to make it last. If not, you can't be. It's not. So it's a lot of sacrifice.
Sounds a lot like God to me.
It certainly does. Speaking of Solomon's 3 and 4 states, I have found the one for whom my soul loves. When did you realize that your soul loved Montrose? When did that happen? Montrose, when did you realize that your soul loved Tiffany? After growing up? Well,
be honest.
And all of those things.
I was working and she came to my job and I told her, I said, you're going to be my wife. And she was like, boy, I don't know, quit playing. But I knew, you know, it don't take long for men, it doesn't take long to know. You know, we kind of know, but for a woman, I don't know. But for me, it didn't take, you know, after a few encounters, you know, this is what I need, this is what I want, this is it. So, you know, it didn't take me long at all. Once we were grown and, you know, settled,
You know what? Like, I knew instantly as well. Like, the first time we came back into contact with each other after 9-10 years. When I saw him for the first time, I knew instantly, but I just fought it for a long time because, you know, he came with a few things that wasn't on my list. You know, I had a list in my 20s, you know, and I was just like, oh God, no, you can't be telling me this is the one, because he anyway, but you know, I mean, you can keep fighting it. It's kind of like a calling, you know, you keep fighting and fighting it, but eventually you have to yield to it. So that's really how that happened. And I would say I wrestled and went back and forth for about a year, I think, before we put that stamp of approval on it and said, okay, we're going to do this, you know, and he just welcomed me with open arms, you know. Well, he did welcome me with open arms, but he was like, look, this time I'm not playing no games with you.
She had that running, you know, that, like she say, running. She was that, she'll come in, you might see her 3-4 weeks, and then she'll disappear. Like, dang, girl, where you go? Oh, I went here. Then she back in. Man, okay. Now, look, enough's enough. Look, you're not going to keep on. You know what you going to do?
I love Tiffany brought up something. I'm going to veer off the path, because you said something that I think is very, very important for young women, even and young men, to hear, or individuals in relationships. This list of things that we feel like we need and gotta have in a person. How many of the things on the list did Montrose fit? Montrose, how many of the things on the list did Tiffany fit? You know, in this list, because I'm gonna tell you something. My honey downstairs is nothing like the list.
Right. Yeah, let's just do away with that list, because that list is probably full of superficial, materialistic. That list is probably too high.
It's called utopia. It never exists.
That list is probably too high for God. You know, it's probably higher than what he could probably do. But so yeah, he you know, at the end of the day, when I weighed the list versus what was actually there, I was like, you know what, this doesn't make sense. You know, I'm gonna have to follow my heart and be with somebody that I know truly loves me for me, like for real. Not with what I come with, not with what, just me. So that's how that happened. Look at Christy.
Montrose's face is like, So, you know, everybody loves the happy points in marriage. You know, I think that's really what takes us through those challenging times, having those moments or those periods of what I call bliss. But you guys have been through the ringer at some times. You know, how do you get through that? Would you like to share any of those experiences? And I think it's important to know that all marriages aren't always perfect every day. There are some days I don't like the other person I'm looking at, and vice versa. I'm not likable. There are some situations that really come in and can wreck and make you think twice about if we're gonna make it through this thing, and what choices do you make, and what practices do you have as a couple to make sure that you stay you're still together on the other side.
For me, I honestly believe it comes back down to your relationship with Christ, and not your personal relationship. You know what you really believe He does for you. You know, as a man, you know, you really have to lean on Him and know Him, and you know that He's not going to forsake you. You know, He tells you, say, don't let nothing come between what I put together. I put y'all together for a reason. So whatever you have done, own up to it, deal with it. Or whatever has happened, it happened for a reason. Y'all get through it. Talk to him, you know, seek me for counsel. You know, it's the thing, you have to have a communication with God. You can't figure it out on your own with Congress. And once you realize that and really trust him, I think it makes it easy for you to deal with the situation at hand. And then also all the emotional come with the woman. You can deal with that as well. You'll know how to channel that too. I think for me.
I was going to say that I think with us in our relationship, one has what the other person needs. So in those times when, like when I wanted to give up, he just refused to give up, and vice versa. It could have been a time where he felt like he wanted to give up, but, it was like giving up was not an option. And so, and at the root of that, we are best friends. So we both have had some type of glimpse of what it would be like without the other, and realize that this is not going to feel good. This is not going to work. This is not for us. This is not going to be right.
Yeah, is it really worth it?
Yeah, is it really worth it? At one time, I think we were trying to sabotage, but it just didn't work, because what's meant to be is meant to be, and we're best friends. I can't see myself without him in my everyday life. Not because of something that I did or a choice that I made that, wasn't what God desired for us. Like, I want us to be one together. So, yeah. And that makes a difference.
Yeah.
You two are parents of wonderful children, but you have gone through something that no parent should have to go through, which is, bearing one of your own children. And that in itself can take a tremendous toll on a relationship. How are you there for one another? Tiffany, you were very transparent. I think it was a year to the day after the passing of your son. You were very transparent on social media. You said, pray for the Whitaker household. We are not well. Well, our prayers are with you, and we're hoping that you're well. But how do you get through that? Loss and grief is something else, and there's no timetable on it. So I think there's some grace that has to be exercised, but I'll let you guys tell that.
Well, it's a day-to-day process. It's a day-to-day walk. And the crazy part is, I am the one that realized, let me back up. Our son is Montrose's biological son. He's my stepson because he came in, but I don't call him that. He's my son. He came into my life when he was about 10 years old, the same age as my daughter. And so from 10 to 18 years old, I grew a bond with him. He was my firstborn child. So, and he was my first go at parenting. And, I didn't realize until after he was gone of how you can have a child with you and it not be your biological child, but I grieved just like he was my child. And, Montrose and I, in the grieving process, I realized that there's so many levels to grief. Okay. But I realized that in order to, I had to compartmentalize my grief because I had to be there for Montrose. So I felt I had to be there, and I wanted to be there for Montrose. But I saw that me breaking down and being hurt was detrimental to him, because he's dependent on me. So when he see me in that state, he's like, Tiffany, come on now. It's like I was in the form of a Holy Spirit. I was the only one he had to lean on. So I really had to kind of choose my moments of grieving.
Get it together.
Because I had to be there for him. I mean, does that make sense? I hope I'm not.
Yeah, you had to get it together.
I had to be there for him. And he was there for me as well, because there were times where I had to talk things out. And, you know, I think his death made us closer as a couple, you know, because prior to that, you know, we probably had some questionable moments. But I think after he passed, it just kind of, it drew us even closer. Like, we're joined by the hip. Would you say?
Yeah. The grieving process for me was a little different. I kind of was more accepting because of, I guess, his lifestyle. So I kind of knew what was coming along with the territory, but it still hurts. But I was more accepting. 1, 2, I kind of, you know, I was, like I say, I understood, you know, being from the streets and knowing the streets. I kind of know what come along with it. So I kind of was mentally prepared, but emotionally I wasn't. And then when you got God in your life, you know, something good comes out of that, you know. And like Tiffany was saying, like, we was at a point right before that we was questionable. And so not using him as a tool, you know, but something good has to come out of all that pain. You know what I'm saying? So you just have to, just like you say, put it out into perspective and keep it moving. And then plus, you know, you can't let, there's so much other stuff that's got to go on still. You know, it's so, you know, you still got these girls, you still got life that still go. You gotta keep it pushing. You know, you just got to. So you can't. You just gotta go. It's got to. And then you just know that's what he would want. So that's how I look at it.
Well, it sounds like for you two, giving up is not an option, which I absolutely love. Now we're down to my favorite part, is Are You Living a Love Song? What is that love song for you two? And it could be different for both of you. You know, we had 2 in this household because there are just some things we just can't agree on.
Yeah,
right. We have 2.
I'm finding that to be more the trend. So what is it for you, Montrose? Okay, go on, Tiffany.
What song did she put first?
No, don't say that.
No, what song she put?
No, she said it's okay to have 2.
I know, but what song you put so I can?
I didn't. I saved it for today. So my love song, my love song to him, or what I think of when about the 2 of us, is Stronger Than Pride by Sade.
Oh.
The lyrics just do it for me, because that's
George Benson. What was it? George Benson. I can't remember the name.
Love Times Love.
Love Times Love. That's what Love Times Love.
Love Times Love by George Benson. That's one of my favorite too.
That's my song. I love it.
That's one of my favorite too.
I just love. It just, you know, it makes you feel good just hearing Love Times Love. You know, it's just the whole vibe. It's a vibe.
It's a vibe.
It's a vibe. I love it.
I get the vibe, and I actually love it. I think this is hilarious because there's one other couple that mentioned George Benson as their love song.
Really?
Yes. And Chris and I, our first date was a George Benson concert. So, hey.
Wow. George Benson did the thing. See, look at him.
Shout out to George Benson.
Shout out to George Benson, the man of love. Well, Tiffany and Montrose, thank you so much for joining Jubilee Theatre today. We really appreciate you, and keep up the faith. Keep it going. Let's keep telling these love stories and living love in this world, because God knows we all need it. Thank you so much. And
thank you.
Bye. Happy Valentine's Day.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
I hope that you all have enjoyed these conversations with us as we dig deeper into what does it take to love in the 21st century. Now, for more information about Jubilee Theatre as we celebrate our 40th season, please go to jubileetheatre.org. If you're interested in purchasing a ticket for HooDoo Love, please go to vimeo.com. Now, for those of you that are able to in these tough economic times, please consider making a donation to Jubilee Theatre. Please know that every dollar counts as we move forward into this new season. We've been here for 40 years, and with your help, your aid, your love, and your assistance, we will be here for another 40 years.